Over in Russia, we have seen a significant depreciation, a collapse in the ruble. At the same time, the central bank also moving to hike rates to 20% to avoid that pass-through to inflation, and capital controls are coming into effect today. Mark, when you assess the situation on markets, have we seen peak impact, or do you think the worst is yet to come?
The worst could come, because if you're sitting in Europe, it's not a very safe place to be, obviously, because Putin may ramp up his aggression and may decide to go after some of the European countries that are supporting Ukraine. So this is a very good lesson in diversification, by the way. Europeans that have not diversified away from European markets are not sitting pretty at this stage. And of course, Asia is in pretty good shape. And you have an interesting situation where Brazil is up. Most of the Asian markets are either flat, with the exception of China, and they're not really going down any great extent. So it's very, very important at this stage to be diversified, particularly into Asia and Latin America, and even Africa, some of the African countries. But Europe is not a safe place to be at this stage of the game.
Okay, so looking at diversification, Mark, one of the most interesting things we've seen over the past few hours is the price of Bitcoin rallying. As those sanctions hit Russia, we saw Bitcoin up 10%. Now, I know you're a skeptic, but are you a buyer in this environment, considering the price outperformance that we're seeing in Bitcoin right now? And what do you think that correlation actually reflects?
I would not be a buyer, but if I was a Russian, I would be a buyer. It's interesting here in Dubai, where I'm living, a lot of Russians are coming in to buy property. In fact, I was talking to a property agent yesterday. He said they'll buy anything, and they're getting money out of Switzerland. They have Swiss bank accounts. But if they can pay with Bitcoin, of course, that's an avenue to get money out of Russia. So I would say that's the reason why Bitcoin has shown strength now, because the Russians have a way of getting money out, or getting their wealth out. Otherwise, they're really in trouble with all the closures of the different avenues for them to transfer money out.
And Mark, where else might we see flows from this point on? Obviously, the key focus now is the contagion risk and the spillover that we're seeing this have into EM and other assets. What's capturing your attention right now?
Well, obviously, gold is a place to be. As I mentioned, for a long, long time, it's very important to have some physical gold. But for Europeans, it's very important for them to start diversifying out of Europe into the U.S., of course. The U.S. dollar is doing well. And at the end of the day, going into some of the Asian markets, which seem to be in pretty good shape. So I would say, with the exception of China, Asia is the place to be, in addition to the U.S. dollar and the U.S. stock market.